Hello there, neighbor. Today, I want to tell you a story about expectations. And I told this story to my kids last night, and it came to me because my oldest started her first violin lesson. And she's actually doing the Suzuki method, which means us parents are going to learn along with her, which is pretty fascinating. And it should be fun, especially if you like the sound of cats screeching in the night. Not bad, actually. But what made me think of my story was the violin case. You see, many years ago when I was living in New York, I would spend a lot of time in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is one of the best art museums in the world. But I had spent all the time in the public areas of the museum. But I knew underneath was the private research area for the art historians and things like that. And also many years ago, I had gone to Tibet with a mentor named Tom Laird, and together we helped to capture all of these Tibetan murals with photographs so they could be reproduced and printed out at life size. And so today we were meeting to go to the Met to show this to one of the art historians there. And it was pretty exciting for me. I met up with Tom and we went into the museum and we got to go in the elevator with the person who worked there and go down inside the bowels of the Met. And it was pretty neat for me. We walked into a fairly big room that was for the classical and antique art, and they unrolled these giant, beautiful pieces, and they started to talk about them. And I was also watching what was going on, and I saw another researcher come in with a Japanese guy who was wearing mostly black, and he was carrying a violin case, and he looked like he could be a jazz musician. And I thought that was a little bit odd because I didn't think this was where the musical instruments were looked at. I thought it was for the ancient artifacts. But he opened up that violin case and he didn't take out an instrument. He took out a katana, an 800-year-old Japanese sword. And then him and the other curator started talking about this sword. And I realized that if I had seen this man on the subway with this violin case, I would have thought that he had a musical instrument in there. And I would never have guessed that he had an ancient sword in that case. So the moral of the story is, when you hear hoofbeats, you expect horses, but you might see zebras.